After a recent concert, and for those that don't know, my main gig is a composer and concert pianist, a pseudo-sarcastic music opinionator, otherwise known as critic, gave me some feedback that my performance lacked the usual showmanship of a live show. I was waiting for the bravado. I wanted to see sweat pouring from your brow, your hands flying to and fro. They said, I wanted you to wow me. At first, I was a little taken aback, but then something inside me just clicked. I realized that this critic had already decided what they wanted to see and hear before my performance even started. They were looking for a spectacle of flashy displays and showmanship, rather than being open to experience something different than their expectations. It was in that moment that I realized the critic wasn't really listening at all, but just watching, judging, waiting, as if less concerned with the substance and waiting for the chance to pounce on any perceived flaw or deviation from their preconceived notions of what a music performance should be, at least in their opinion. They had already made up their mind about what they wanted to see and hear. And sure, my music is meant to be enjoyed, just not necessarily judged according to certain standards. At the end of the day, as a musician, my goal, my hope, is to connect with people through my music. My role is to impact the heart, not to impress the mind. Of course, I want people to enjoy my performance, but it's not about meeting some standard of what a music critic thinks a live show should be. Because, as you are well aware, each person has their own expectation already. It made me feel grateful for those in the audience who came up with an open heart and mind, ready to experience the music in the moment without any preconceptions or judgments. Those are the people I want to connect with through my music. And I know that there are many of them out there just waiting to be moved by the power of not only my music, but others. But I hear it from them every show, in every email, and through every repeat of a song when it's streamed. As I talked with other members of the audience after the performance, I heard stories and stories and stories of how my music had helped them through difficult times in their lives. Some even shed tears as they shared their personal experiences. Some had driven anywhere from 4 to 7 hours just to be there. Honestly, I couldn't believe it. It was a humbling reminder that music has the power to touch, to heal, and connect us in ways that sometimes words cannot. But despite all of this, I couldn't shake the feeling that I had somehow failed. That by not playing something that was technically demanding enough, I'd missed an opportunity to impress this music critic who seemed to value technical prowess above all else. But then I had to ask myself, why do we always focus on the one criticism? Why do we give so much weight to the opinion of one person or one idea out of hundreds, out of thousands? I have 1.6 million monthly listeners on Spotify as I write this. But why is that one person the one that I'm thinking about? Today, we're going to talk about embracing your authenticity, how to defy these pressures to conform, and how to fashion a unique path towards happiness. Sounds complicated. It is, but it isn't. As with every performance, it just takes a little practice. I'm Chad Lawson, and let's calm it down in 3, 2, 1. We all have a natural tendency to seek validation, right, and approval from others. We want to be liked, we want to be accepted and appreciated. And we often measure our success or even our self-worth based on the feedback that we receive from others. I mean, that's just how we are wired, right? But this can lead to a dangerous cycle where we become overly fixated on criticism while ignoring the positive feedback and praise that we receive from others. It's important to remember that criticism is a necessary part of personal growth and development. It is. I mean, we need to be able to hear constructive feedback and make changes where necessary in order to improve ourselves, in order to improve our work. However, it's equally important to recognize that criticism is just one voice in a sea of opinions. It's not always reflective of the bigger picture. It's not always reflective of the bigger ocean, right? When we become fixated on the lone voice suggesting what should be changed, we risk losing sight of everything else that has already been said, which then we may start to doubt ourselves and our abilities, and we may even become hesitant to take risk or try new things for fear of being overly criticized. So to combat this, we need to ask ourselves this question. Are you ready? Are you writing this down? I hope so. Here we go. Why are you really paying attention to that one criticism? I'm going to ask it again. Why are you really paying attention to that one criticism? Is it because you truly believe that it's valid feedback that you need to consider? Or is it because you're seeking validation and approval from someone else? Is it because you're afraid of making mistakes and being judged? Or is it because you genuinely want to improve yourself and your work? Why are you really paying attention to that one criticism? When we're honest with ourselves about our motivations, we can begin to shift our focus away from criticism and towards the bigger picture. We can start to recognize the positive feedback, the positive praise that we actually receive. And then we can use this as motivation to continue doing what we really love to do. Because when we're doing something that we love, it's going to be recognized as an extension of our love, of ourself, our putting something into the world with the intention of giving life to others. Sit on that for a second. When we are doing something that we love, it's going to be recognized. It is. It's going to be seen as an extension of us. And it's going to be seen that we are authentically putting something into the world with the intention of giving life to others. And that is what matters more than the criticism of someone that, one, has no authority to speak to the passion within you, and two, speaks critically, possibly as a result of a long-rooted inadequacy, or maybe their own insecurities. Don't let the opinions of others dim your passion and creativity. Instead, stay true to yourself and focus on the positive impact that you can make on the world through your own unique gifts and talents. Remember that the greatest achievements often come from those who were once told their dreams were impossible or even foolish. And it's also important to remember that criticism is subjective. What one person may see as a flaw, another person will see as a unique and valuable aspect of your work. Yes, we need to be open to feedback. We need to be willing to make changes where necessary. But we also need to stay true to ourselves. We also need to stay true to our vision. Criticism is a necessary part of personal growth and development, but it's important not to become overly fixated on it. Because when we focus on the bigger picture, when recognizing the positive feedback and the praise that we actually receive, we can stay motivated and continue to grow and improve and create and shine and reach and all of that. At the same time, we need to be honest with ourselves. We need to be honest about our motivations. We need to be honest and stay true to ourselves and what we're putting our hands to. It's no secret that society places a great deal of pressure on us to fit in and to conform into these little boxes, right? We're taught that there is a certain way to look, there's a certain way to act and to be in order to be accepted by others. As a result, we often lose sight of who we truly are and what we truly want out of life. But when we embrace our uniqueness, when you embrace your authenticity, you tap into a well of inner strength and resilience. You become confident in your own skin, and you're able to navigate life's changes with ease. Now, embracing our authenticity often means breaking away from social norms, often means breaking away from others' expectations, which can be scary, and as it requires us to step outside of our comfort zone, and it makes us take risk. But here's the thing: when we live authentically, we not only benefit ourselves, but also those around us. When we are true to ourselves, we inspire others to do the same. This creates a ripple effect of positivity and empowerment. And we also become more compassionate, more understanding towards others as we begin to see the beauty in them as well. Now, as you very well know, embracing our authenticity is not always easy. We may face fear and doubt along the way, and as we step outside of our comfort zones, we challenge these societal norms. It's hard, right? When we face these fears head on, you can grow and evolve as the most unique individual, ultimately becoming stronger, becoming more resilient, becoming more confident, not only who you are as a person, but also what you are creating, what you are bringing to others. As I mentioned earlier, society obviously places a great deal of pressure on us to fit in and to conform. We're taught that there's a certain way to be and act and all of these things. So the first step towards embracing your authenticity is to identify the ways in which you are currently conforming to their expectations. Oof, it's so hard, right? We don't really want to look at this, do we? But the first step towards embracing your authenticity is to identify the ways in which you are conforming to their expectations. This can be a challenging process, as we often don't realize how much we are conforming until we take a step back and reflect. So this week, I'd like for you to take some time to reflect on your life and identify the areas in which you may be conforming, realizing it or not. This could be in your career, this could be in relationships, or even in the way that you express yourself. Now, once you've identified these areas, ask yourself whether these choices, do they align with your values? Do they align with your passions? Or are they just simply a result of the pressure from society? And then the second step towards embracing your authenticity is to start taking small steps towards living a more you life. Yes, this sounds kind of cliche, but cliches are cliches for a reason. But if expressing yourself in ways that feel true to you, pursuing a career that aligns with your passions, or making choices that align with your value, these small steps may seem insignificant at first, but over time, they can lead to a more authentic and fulfilling life. But I want you to remember, this is really important, I want you to remember that embracing your authenticity is not always easy. It may require you to step outside of your comfort zone. It may require you to challenge these expectations. So the third step towards embracing your authenticity is to practice self-compassion and patience with yourself as you navigate this process. It's okay to make mistakes, and it's okay to take a few steps back along the way. But what's important is that you keep moving forward towards your voice, not someone else's. So be kind to yourself. Remember that this process takes time, takes effort. Everyone is a critic, but no one is you. I'm going to say that again. Everyone is a critic, but no one is you. No one has lived the exact same life as you. No one has the same perspective or talents as you. We each have a unique contribution to make to the world, right? We all do. And it's important to remember that not everyone will understand. Not everyone's going to appreciate your choices, your passions, your voice, and that is okay. As long as you stay true to yourself and in your heart of hearts, follow it completely, you can make a positive impact on the world in your own way. And those of you who find your passion, your music, if you will, they've been waiting for your voice. What you are putting your hands to will resonate with the lives of others you may never even meet in this lifetime. So the next time you feel yourself getting caught up in the opinions of others, and I'm saying this even to myself, take a moment to remember that no one else can be you. No one paints the way you paint. No one gives care to others the way you give care. No one does you like you. And that is the most beautiful thing about being human. Our individuality and the unique gifts that we bring to the world. So whether you're pursuing a creative passion, you're caring for others, or simply living life in your own way, I want you to know that you are making a valuable contribution to the world. Celebrate your uniqueness, embrace your individuality, and let your light shine. Because when we each embrace our true selves, we create a more vibrant, beautiful world for all. For more episodes, concert dates, or to send me some delicious chocolate chip cookies, visit calmitdownpodcast.com. This podcast was written and produced by yours truly, Chad Lawson, composer, pianist, and nationally recognized sweet tooth. Now, before we part ways, I want to remind you that the views, expressions, and techniques in this episode are of my personal opinion and not intended to serve as a substitute for medical advice or diagnoses rendered to you by your individual doctor or other healthcare provider. Please seek the advice of a licensed physician or therapist for any medical or emotional concerns. I'm not a licensed therapist or physician, but I am an empath by nature, and I hope this and future podcast episodes can aid your emotional needs. To find a list of licensed professionals in your area, visit calmitdownpodcast.com. And if you enjoy this podcast and want to support the time, the person involved, and content you hear each week, please consider pitching in $2 or $3 a month. Your contribution will help keep this podcast ad-free. Visit calmitdownpodcast.com, look for the white coffee cup with the heart in the center, or scan the QR code at the bottom of the page. Again, calmitdownpodcast.com. Remember, be kind to your mind. And join me next week as we calm it down.